this. I'm gonna read it.
Okay, so welcome to part B of the fourth lecture session, colleagues. So what I want to explain here, and just to take you back to where we were. So remember, we're done these steps, right? Let me just go back. We're done, I think, up to step number 3. In fact, we're about to indulge into step number 3. So step number 1, what had we done? Step 1, we dealt with it. Step 2, we dealt with it. Step 3, we dealt with it as well in video A. So step 3, what was happening is we determined the transaction price, where we simply took the purchase value, which is that 985,000 rands, multiplied by 10 armored vehicles to give you a total of 9,850,000. That was step number 3. Step number 4, colleagues, is the allocation of the transaction price to the performance obligations. So I think if we clearly look into your performance obligations, as it were, in the context of the question, you would discover that there are two things here. The 985,000 rands, it's already including the service plan. It's already including the service plan, meaning to say this 985,000 has two components. Okay? It has two components into it. Now, what are the two components in that 985,000? It's very simple, and I'm doing that to explain step 4. So we're allocating, or it's basically the allocation of the transaction price to the performance obligations. So that transaction price, obviously, for each vehicle, it's 985,000 rands. And the components of that transaction price, it's the purchase value of the armored vehicle. And before the discount, it was going to be 970,000. And then the service plan, it is the 37,500. Where do we get all these values? They were clearly told, they were clearly given to us from the details above. They stated that the service plan normally sells for 37,500, and an armored vehicle without a service plan, it's 970,000. So I want to then just find out, okay, if I take these two, okay, because that's what makes up a transaction price. But if you add these two values, 970,000 and the 37,500, it will give you a total of 1,007,500. Now, this 1,007,500 is what S4G Limited was supposed to be paying for each armored vehicle. However, S4G Limited is paying 985,000 rands for each vehicle, which then tells me something, that there is a discount to be allocated in this case. Does it make sense? There's a discount to be allocated in this case. So meaning to say, even in this step number 4, as you do the allocation of the purchase value, which is discounted, obviously, and then you also do the service plan allocation, which is discounted, it will be after you've done the correct allocation of the discount. Does it make sense?
Yes.
Yes, it will be after you've done the allocation of the discount. So another thing that I had already done, sorry guys, that most of this we had done it offline without recording. So I'm doing this for the sake of ensuring that these are already on record, okay? So now if you look here on the calculations that I've done, so notice this is a very important thing to note. There's discount to be allocated. Now, let's do the calculations of the discount. So the discount granted, it will be the difference between the 1,007,500 less what S4G Limited paid for each vehicle, in this case, which is the 985,000, giving us a total value of 22,500. That 22,500, colleagues, that's the discount, total discount, which S4G Limited obtained from this contract that they signed with DD Armor Limited. So already the 22,500, it's including a portion of the discount for the actual purchase value of this vehicle, and it's also including the discount for the service plan. So I wanted to do these calculations to show you the allocation of the discount to the purchase value and the service plan on the whiteboard, you see? So let's do that on the whiteboard to make it easy. All right. Okay. Sorry, I'm just trying to show the previous whiteboard that I was showing you earlier. I'm trying to see if I have an option to, I don't know. Okay, let me just restart that whiteboard, right? Okay, I don't know why it's not showing me the previous whiteboard for some reason. Can I just start a new whiteboard?
Yes, it's cool.
Yeah, because I have to just really redo those calculations. Let me just, oh, better. There we go. There we go. I thought it had eliminated right. So now I think we can okay, let me just re-explain it here now. So here's what is happening, guys. What we're trying to do is to allocate the discount to the purchase value and as well as to the discounted service plan, right? So there are two options of doing this calculation. The first option is where you can directly compile the discounted purchase value and the discounted service plan. Obviously, you need to show this in your step number 4 as you do the allocation. It has to be clearly stipulated. But at the same time, also you need to show then the discount allocation separately as well. So this is one way of doing it. So this obviously because it has to be there, but I'll also show you another way of doing the same calculation for this exact thing that we're trying to calculate. Then you decide which way is easier. So the one way of doing it, according to your memo, is where you take the purchase price, which is already discounted, all right, total purchase price, which is already discounted, multiplying it by the purchase value, remember, which was not discounted, divided by the total including the service plan. And that will give you the discounted purchase value to be 948,337. All right, so that was for the purchase value component. Then for the service plan component, you take again the same discounted price, which was paid by S4G Limited, multiplied by the service plan, which is not discounted, divided by the total value of both the service plan and then, of course, the purchase value before the discount. And then when you do that calculation, it will give you the discounted value of the service plan to be 36,663. That's one easy way or quickest way to calculate these discounted values. Now, there's another way of still getting to the same thing here, but that way it will be a method where you first calculate you do the allocation of the total discount. So you already know that the total discount for these vehicles is 22,500 rands. This 22,500 rands, it's supposed to be allocated between the purchase value as well as the service plan. Now, if you do that, trust me, it can be easier to then calculate these same values that we've already determined here. It will be easier to do them. I'll show you how. So now, to do the purchase value allocation of the discount, you simply take that 22,500, multiply it by the purchase value before the discount, divide by the total value that was supposed to be paid, of course, including the service plan, and that will give you 21,663. So this is the discount that is supposed to be subtracted from the, remember, from the 1,007,500. So, yes, I'll show it to you in the next page, of course, that aspect. But for now, what I want you to see is the allocation of the total discount. So that for the purchase value, it's 21,663. And then for the service plan, you're going to say 22,500 multiplied by 37,500, which is the service plan aspect, divided by the total value of the purchase, car. Then in this case, you get something like 873, if I'm not mistaken.
No, 837.
Or 837. Yes. So notice, colleagues, these are the allocations for the discount. Now, if you want to determine these values now, after you've gotten the discounts, it's very easy. You can then so now we are trying to do what we had done in option 1 in a different way now. So we want to allocate the discounted values. Okay? Are we together? So we already know that the total discount value, my brother, it's supposed to be how much? 985,000 rands. We want to allocate this 985,000 rands between the purchase price or the purchase value of this vehicle. And we also want to allocate it to the service plan. So far, so good.
Yes, cool.
All in all, this thing is supposed to give us how much? A total of 985,000 rands. We are together there. So
Yes.
how do we do it? How do we calculate that? I mean, those values now, if we have these discounts in place, right? That's what we are trying to establish. So it's going to be very, 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 very simple. So how are you going to do it? You already know that the purchase value of the vehicle, all right, without the service plan, the value of the purchase, so the purchase value of the vehicle without the service plan, it's 970,000 rands. Then you're going to have to subtract from that the 21,663 there, minus 21,663. And then for the service plan, you already know it's 37,500. And you're going to subtract from that the 837 rands there. When you do that, you discover that it will give you 948,337 for the purchase value, and it will give you 36,663 for the service plan if you do these calculations here. Let's do the first one. 970,000 minus 21,663. I'm getting 948,337, which is exactly what we had gotten here.